Basically, when it comes to the ducktail and a lot of other spoilers and wings that we're making for the 992 Carrera, the one thing I wanted to explain in the installation process is the third brake light, okay? If you'll notice on turbos, there's the wing, obviously, which we removed, and there's the wing base. I call this the wing base. On turbos, the wing base has the third brake light integrated into it, and when you remove the wing base, the third brake light has a small ponytail harness, wiring harness, hanging down. So what you do is you take the other end of that harness and you simply just plug it in to the connector for a 992 turbo, right? Simple enough, easy enough. However, when we're doing a ducktail or a different type of spoiler for the 992 Carrera, it's not that simple because it doesn't have a base with the third brake light. The third brake light is up here, and then it has a secondary third brake light when the factory spoiler deploys and it's underneath. So the harness for that doesn't unplug and plug because it's part of the whole spoiler mechanism unit, right? So when we're converting the factory spoiler unit to the ducktail system, what we have to do is create that ponytail harness for the third brake light. And today we're going to show you how that works. This basically is the spoiler unit for a 992 Targa. And what we're going to do is we're going to remove the cover for the spoiler motor so that we can access the plug underneath it to remove the harness, because we have to transplant the harness, the wiring harness, from the original spoiler unit to the ducktail. In order to remove the motor cover, it's 8 bolts, torque 25, so just 2, 4, 6, and 8, and we'll remove that. So now we're going to pry, after we remove the bolts, we're going to pry the cover open. Take it out. That exposes the motor for the original spoiler unit. Now what we're going to do is remove these 3 bolts, which are torque 25, in order to access the rear. So now we're just going to pry up the motor actuator to give us access, and now we're going to lift up on the unit cover, the housing, in order to access the plug for the harness, which is located in the back. Just tilt it forward and remove the plug. There it is, simple enough. So now that we have the plug that was located underneath the motor unplugged and out, we're just going to remove these clips so we can release the harness. Okay. And then we remove the plug unit from down there. What we need to do is release the third brake light harness from the main harness. So what we can do is we can attach that ponytail to the third brake light in the ducktail. And then what we're going to do is we're going to show you how we put 2 connectors together, connecting these 2 together. So once the latch plate is on the vehicle and we put on the ducktail, we can just simply click those together, engaging the third brake light to the harness. So just cut the third brake light wire away. And like I said, we'll show you the plugs that we're going to be putting in and connecting it together. But this piece is going to be with the inside the ducktail connected to the third brake light. And this will stay with the harness, and then we just plug them in with the plugs we're going to show you. Now that we have the harness released, we're just going to put the motor and the cover back where it was. So now after cutting away the third brake light wire from the harness, we're just going to continue to take out the clips in order to remove the harness completely. There you are. And now we're going to transplant this over to our latch plate. Now that we've cut away that section of the harness, there's also another section in here. So the third brake light ponytail section, we have to kind of wiggle through all of these and take it out. So that's what we're going to show you now, how to remove the third brake light section of the harness out of the spoiler system. First, we take those clips out from the bottom of the spoiler upside down on the underside. And then once we do that, then we're going to flip the spoiler to the top side, right? And then we're going to show you in here how we take out the clips and completely release the third brake light harness out. And then once we take it out of there, we just take the clip up on top there, and one more there. And finally, that's the last one. And then we just feed it through. In order to completely release the third brake light section of the harness out of this opening, because it has these plastic clips, we're going to remove this bolt, and you see how that bracket just comes down. And that's a torque 30 that we open up to release this bracket so that the third brake light harness comes right out. We have the section of the harness, that's the third brake light section, right? So here's the main harness, and here's the third brake light section. So all we're going to do is transplant these two harnesses into the latch plate. This is the main harness, and this is the section for the third brake light that we removed. And so we'll be installing this in the ducktail to the third brake light, and then we'll have a plug just like this from the ponytail of the third brake light and another female plug into the harness that clicks into place. And so that way we can install this in the ducktail and then put the ducktail onto the vehicle. So this is the latch plate that we're going to be transplanting the harness that we took out from the original spoiler unit to this. We're installing the harness into our latch plate. Just run it through these loops and tighten it down.
Yeah.
They're zip tie connectors, so you just tie it down and cut them, and you have your harness in place. So basically, that's the connector from the third brake light harness, right? After you plug in the third brake light and you leave the ponytail of the harness here, you take the air guide, you simply install it just like that. Perfect. So you can plug in the other side of your third brake light into the vehicle's harness, and you have your air guide that sends all the air down into the air box. Perfectly beautiful, clean fit and finish.